Alrighty, everybody. Welcome back. So, today what we are doing is we are going to be drawing over the skull so that we can really understand these forms and really lock down their origination and their guidelines and all that stuff, right? So, here's the zygomatic arch. So, just going to approximate these, right? Then it goes into the temporal line right there. Okay, let's do that a little bit better. And as I said, my drawing skills leave a lot to be desired. All right, so that's the superior margin. Here's the inferior margin. Again, just approximating it. Okay, and right here is the malar eminence where things are starting to turn around and then go towards the front, right? And we know that we can draw this line right here, this, and get this zygomatic, right? Right there. We're going to choose a different color. Let's go with purple. And here, the temporal mandibular joint, we'll get to that in class later on. Then the angle of the jaw, and then the length of the mandible. And let's change it again to yellow for the arc of the frontal eminence, which is the chin. And let's go back to our pink for the mandible right here. And this is where the temporalis muscle attaches to, right there. Okay. So we've got the mandible right here. So let's go orange. And we know we've got the bottom of the nasal aperture. Right. Right there. And then let's go with some bright pink for the, so this is the inferior orbital furrow right here. Superior margin of the orbit. Right there, that goes inside, right? So let's see, let's get ready a little blue. Let's get some blue in here. Okay. So right there are the superciliary arches separated by the glabella before the nasal bones start, right? Right here is the mastoid process right here. Okay. And then we're just going to do an overall approximation of the skull, right? Right, to really nail those outlying forms in, right? And then the cranium back here. Right there. Okay. And then we've got the whatchamacallit? The frontal bone, which is the the forehead right here, right? Going right over there. Okay. Alrighty, so let's take a look at the next one. Alrighty. Alrighty. So let's start with a little red. And again, here's our ear hole, right? And right above that is the zygomatic, superior margin, inferior margin, and you can see the tilt of the zygomatic, right? And we've got the temporalis, or the temporal line, right here, right? Okay. Yellow. Let's see. What was yellow? Okay. All right. So yellow, we've got the frontal eminence, which is the chin, and then we've got the mandible, angle of the jaw, and then the length of the mandible. Got the temporal mandibular joint. We'll take a look at that in class, how it slides forward. All right. And then we have the uh, rest of the mandible right here. Okay. Let's see. Let's get this orange. So we can tell from the bottom of the zygomatic, go forward, the nasal aperture. Okay. Just get the nose right there. Grab this pink. Here's the superior margin, lateral superior margin, and then the inferior orbital furrow right there. Okay. Then we got blue. What was blue? Blue was, oh yes, the mastoid process right here. Okay. So from there, you would have your sternomyoclastoid coming out from here, right? And then you would have that right there. Okay. So let's see, what do we have next? And then we've got the outline of, let's get a bit larger. Right. Oops. Oh yeah, we gotta go for the superciliary arches as well. Alrighty, so superciliary was blue. That's what blue was. Blue, blue, blue. Okay. The superciliary arches right there. Okay. Alrighty. Let's take a look at the next one. So, we are gonna start with red. Oh, we're just gonna go red. Right here. Alright. Right there, right above the ear hole. Zygomatic arch, going up to the temple. Follow that to the temporal line. Right there. You got the bottom inferior margin of it. You can put a straight line straight across. Find the inferior margin of the, or I'm sorry, the bottom of the nasal aperture. And you can see from the very top line, we can find the inferior margin of the orbit that falls in line with the inferior orbital furrow right here. Okay. And so, as I was saying in class, like this is pretty much like sunglasses, right? Right in the middle of this, right in the middle of this fucking head, right? Alrighty, so next is yellow. Cancel. Okay, so then we've got the eye. Okay. Okay. Green. We'll just go with the mandible. we go, the angle of the jaw, length of the mandible, to the frontal eminence right here, and then back around, and you can see a little bit of it right there. Okay, and then light blue, we'll go with the superciliary arches right here. Deep blue, we'll go with the nasal aperture. And then pink will outline the rest of the skull. All right, the temple. Make sure you mind that hit right here, right there. Make sure you mind that whenever you're sculpting a male. And then you've got the mastoid process right here. Okay. And what else? Temporalis, zygomatic, mandible. Let's get that green in here again. Just finish off that jaw. And temporal mandibular joint. Let's get back that purple, and we can finish this off. Okay, and let's go to the next one. All right, this is just repetition, 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 just to drive home. Bottom of the ear, right above it, zygomatic, temporal line, temporal right there. Okay, and then we got the inferior margin. Let's get that right there, right there. See the tilt on that? Kind of goes into the inferior orbital margin or inferior orbital furrow. And then we can go to yellow right here. And then you got the superior medial, superior lateral, lateral, inferior lateral, inferior, inferior margin. All right? Right there. And then we've got green. So we've got the nasal aperture right here. Right there. Okay. Blue, you got the temporal mandibular joint. I don't expect you all to do that for your homework. I'm going to be teaching that in class today. And then there. Okay. And then the maxilla right here. Okay. Let's see. Blue, you got superciliary arches right here. Pink, and then the rest of the skull. Oops. Ooh, that's where my hand gets all sloppy. And you can see a little hook right here. This is where the trapezius is going to attach to, right? Then you got the mastoid process right here. You got all that going down there, right? All that good stuff, right? Okay, so what else do we have? Pink. And then again, the mastoid process right here. It's a little hook. Again, it's one of the differences between the male and female skull right here. The mastoid process is more prominent on a male skull than it is a female skull. Alrighty, so let's go to the next one. Alrighty, so red ear hole. inferior margin. I'm going to rotate this. Okay. So, superior margin, inferior margin. Tilt up. Temple. Temporal line. Okay. Yellow. Inferior orbital furrow. Superior margin going in. Right? Green. Temporal mandibular joint. Angle of the jaw. Going forward to the frontal eminence, into the mouth or the maxilla. There we go. All right. And then we've got mastoid process right here. What else did we use? What we use like right? And then we'll use the same color for the nasal aperture right there. Blue. Outline the skull. Okay. And pink right here. The superciliary arches. Okay. And one more time. Or 2 to 3 more times. Okay. Zygomatic. Across. Okay. And we follow that around to the front right here. Okay. We got the malar eminence where it rounds a corner. Okay. Yellow inferior orbital furrow, superior margin, superior lateral, superior lateral, inferior lateral, inferior, inferior, medium, right? Okay. Whew, that's a tongue twister. All right, let's get the other eye as well. Superior margin, lateral. You can see, make sure you notice that little dip right here. That little hit coming out from there. Just take note of it. Okay, green, temporal mandibular joint, coming down, angle of the jaw, length of the jaw, frontal eminence right here, comes back around. Okay. Blue, let's go back to green. We can finish that off. Okay. Let's go superciliary arches. Nasal aperture. And mastoid process right here. We'll just outline the rest of the skull in the same color. Yeah, so it's important to know all this stuff because if you don't know what's underneath the face, how do you ever hope to fully understand it as a sculptor. And how do you ever expect to be better than the next guy if you don't know your anatomy? Okay. And then we've got the frontal going out, right? And let's go for another one straight on. Right. And go red. Zygomatic. Oops. Here we go. Wacom tablet properties. I think for this you have to have Windows ink on or it won't do the fall off. Like I think now I don't have, yeah, see now I don't have tablet pressure. Oh well. Alright, so we got that. Got the temporal line coming around. Okay. Bottom of that. Right across. Bottom of the nasal aperture. Coming across. Okay. Bottom of the eye. Oops. Alrighty. And yellow. Inferior orbital furrow. Superior margin going in. Inferior orbital furrow. Superior margin going in. Temporal mandibular joint. Back there behind the zygomatic. Angle of the jaw. Length of the jaw. Frontal eminence. Oops. And there we go. And then we've got back here. We'll talk about the muscles that fill that area on Monday. Or on Tuesday, I'm sorry. Okay, and got the nasal aperture right here. Superciliary arches right there. Okay. You got the glabella separating. What else? And then trace the outside. So we saw in class that there are a bunch of different types of skulls and shapes of skulls. That book I was referring, Heads by Alex Kaser, that is in the library. So if you want to look at it because you're super interested, you should check it out. Okay. So this one's just the top of the cranium. Again, the widest part is usually back third, right? Boom. And you can see it's also not very symmetrical here either, right? Okay. Back third. Alrighty. That was an easy one. Okay, and just one more, a little bit closer up. Let's get the zygomatic going, because that's kind of like how we base everything, right? And straight across, straight across. You can find the bottom of the eye. And there we go for the temporal line. Okay. Oops, let's get the rest of that zygomatic. All right, and then we've got the inferior margin, goes straight across. We can find the nasal aperture right there. We can get that going. Margin, you can really see the temporal line on that one. Okay, Let's just get that little bump a little bit better. Okay. And then we will get the yellow. All right. And superior margin going into the eye. Inferior orbital furrow coming from outside of that. Then going around. Okay. Inferior orbital furrow. Boom. Hit that mat. Or hit that angle. There you go. Okay. So green temporal mandibular joint right there. Mandible, angle of jaw, length of jaw, or length of mandible, frontal eminence, length of mandible, then goes off into perspective. All right, you got the little angle of the jaw right there. Alrighty. And then we've got the nasal aperture right here. Boom. We've got the superciliary arches right there. Glabella separating it. And then the cranium. Okay. Let's get a better angle on that. You can see my drawing skills are not very good. All right, and the mastoid process, we'll go over that. I forgot to teach y'all that little knock, but we'll go over it. Alrighty, so there we go. That is this week's homework. So hopefully you got it done. You can see it didn't take very long, didn't take a lot of effort. But while you're doing this, try to repeat what's going on, right? And then let's get the frontal bone. Yeah, so repeat these things. Frontal eminence, arc of the arc of the chin right here, length of the mandible, angle of the mandible itself, um, mastoid process, temporal line, zygomatic, superior, inferior. The inferior orbital furrow. Make sure you learn that one because that is a major landmark for the face, right? And then, of course, superciliary arches are very important as well for expression. And then the zygomatic is, pretty much the top of the skull, attaches to the mandible, right? All that good stuff. Okay, so hopefully this helps you a little bit. Again, if you have any questions, any concerns, put them down below. Let me know what you want to see. Let me know how this video helped or what I can do to make it better. And thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you next week.